I'm Tracy, 65. Standing in the living room of what was once my home, I stared at my son Mark and his wife Lily, disbelief and anger coursing through me. Mark had the audacity to say, "Mom, we've made an offer on a new house. We need to sell this one, and you've got to move out." It all started a few years ago. My husband Tom passed away, leaving me alone in the big house we'd built together. Mark and Lily had just had their first child, Mia, and money was tight. Out of love and a desire to help, I signed the house over to them, thinking it was a way to support my family. Little did I know, it would be the beginning of the end. After the transfer, things started to change. Lily began to redecorate the house, ignoring my suggestions and pushing my belongings to the side. Mark, instead of standing up for me, sided with his wife, saying I needed to adapt to the new normal. I kept quiet, not wanting to cause trouble, and continued to pay the mortgage, hoping they'd appreciate my efforts. One day, after a week visiting my sister in another state, I returned home to find my suitcases on the sidewalk and a note from Lily saying I could stay in the garage if I wanted. I was devastated. I'd spent my whole life in this house, raising Mark, sharing memories with Tom, and now I was being treated like an outsider. I called my friend Sarah, who'd been with me through thick and thin. She immediately came to my rescue and offered me a place to stay. As I sat in her spare room, sipping coffee, I couldn't help but think about how I'd let things get this far. I'd been so focused on being a good mother and grandmother that I'd forgotten about myself. Sarah, always the practical one, suggested I talk to her nephew, Alex, a lawyer who specialized in elder rights. Alex reviewed my mortgage statements and told me I had options. I could sue for the mortgage payments I'd made since the transfer, or at least confront Mark and Lily and try to resolve the issue amicably. I decided to give Mark one last chance. The next day, I stood on the porch of my own home, my heart pounding. When Mark opened the door, his expression was a mix of surprise and discomfort. I told him I knew about their plans to sell the house and that I'd been paying the mortgage all this time. Mark and Lily's reactions were cold and dismissive, insisting the house was theirs and I had no say in the matter. That's when I snapped. I told them I'd stop the automatic mortgage payments and that if they wanted to sell the house, they'd have to pay for it themselves. Mark's face turned red with anger, and Lily started to yell about their credit and their plans for the new house. I didn't care. I was done being pushed around. After the confrontation, I felt a mix of relief and fear. Had I made the right decision? Sarah and Alex assured me I had, and Alex said he'd contact the bank to see what options we had. A few days later, I received a call from the bank. They explained something called an equitable lien, which meant I might have an interest in the property because of the mortgage payments I'd made. With this new information and Alex's legal advice, I took another step forward. I applied for a job at a local diner. It wasn't easy, but it gave me a sense of purpose and independence. I was no longer relying on Mark and Lily for anything. A few weeks later, Mark showed up at the diner. He looked desperate, telling me they were in trouble because of the missed mortgage payments and that their credit scores were dropping. He asked me to lift the lien and resume the payments so they could sell the house. I was shocked by his audacity. I told him I wanted the house back and I'd pay the remaining mortgage balance. Mark and Lily were furious, but they knew they had no choice. The legal proceedings would take time, and their credit scores would continue to suffer. In the end, they agreed to my offer, but Mark made it clear that our relationship would never be the same. I moved back into the house, but it felt different. The memories were still there, but so was the pain. I spent the next few weeks slowly restoring the house to how it used to be, adding touches of warmth and personality. And as I did, I realized that I'd finally found my voice and my strength. One Saturday morning, Mark showed up at the house again. He told me they didn't get the new house because of their credit issues and that they'd found an apartment instead. He also said Lily was pregnant again. I congratulated him, but I could see the pain in his eyes. He said Mia asked about me all the time and he hoped we could still have a relationship. I told him I was willing to try, but I needed him to respect me and my boundaries. It wasn't going to be easy, but I was hopeful that we could heal our relationship. That evening, Sarah, Alex, and some other friends came over for a barbecue. As we sat in the backyard, Laughing and talking, I felt a sense of peace and belonging. I was home, not just in the house, but in my own life. Looking back, I realized that it's never too late to stand up for yourself and fight for what's right. I may have lost some battles, but I won the war. I'm Tracy, and I'm stronger than I ever thought possible.